Congratulations to Mumbai Indians for a superb win in the IPL 2020. They showed why MI is known as the mighty MI, because the way they took over the match was pretty much excellent. My heart goes out to DC. As a fan of DC, and I have to admit that I did think they had a chance, and by not only winning the toss, batting first, but Marcus Stoinis getting out on the first ball was very tragic. Secondly, Shikhar Dhawan, for the life of me, I couldn't understand when he was pretty nicely said, why did he have to play such a terrible shot to get out to a spinner? And of course, the situation was saved to a great extent by Rishabh Pant, who has been pretty much vilified throughout this campaign, and assisting him was Shreyas Iyer. But that kind of total was never going to be enough. We all knew that. And the way MI got there pretty much showed why they are the champions. But more importantly, there are quite a few lessons learned from the IPL. I want to take you through some of those points, and they're pretty interesting. So let me begin with the first one, which is that the IPL basically teaches us, and the game of cricket, that you need a pipeline of young players, and they would mature typically in about 2 years and keep on going on that conveyor belt. So unless you have a pipeline of young players, the team is not only in some kind of trouble, but also does not have the correct balance. Now, 7 Indian players are there in every IPL team. There are 4 overseas players. The overseas players will keep coming and going. It is the 7 Indian players who are the spinal cord of that team. Not all of them will rise to the occasion, but at least if you have 4 to 5 out of them who perform, then the focus would be on them, and that team would need them as the spinal cord. MI is a classic example of banking on young talent, grooming them, and persevering. So they do this very, very scientifically. They have done it over a period of time, and undoubtedly they are easily the most successful team in the IPL circuit by winning the IPL titles several times over. Ishan Kishan, Pandya brothers, Surya Kumar Yadav, they are perfect examples of nurturing young talent. Then if you look at the larger landscape of the IPL, some names have come into reckoning, and they might become big stars of the future. So they are Kamlesh Nagarkoti, Shivam Mavi, Navdeep Saini, Ravi Bishnoi, Yashasvi Jaiswal, who didn't do much, but he has that spark in him. Priyam Garg, Varun Chakravarti, they are some of the better examples of the younger players, and I'm quite sure there are quite a few others. And so these people form the nucleus of the IPL. And when we talk about the future IPL series that would come up, a lot of the focus would be on these young players. So what do they have? They have potential, they have talent, but they lack experience, because experience comes with time. It comes with a lot of other stuff. And there is something called cricketing intelligence, which is required in the big matches. And if you see some of the bigger finals, not only in recent years, but of the past, some of the bigger matches, and you see a couple of players who really, really up their game, up the ante. And that is why they say that the greats, the legendary players, have performed very well in the bigger occasions, because that brings out a certain extra stuff within them. But the most important thing is the mind here, it's the brain. And that is where cricketing intelligence is required. Which shot to play when? How do you pace an innings? When you talk about the bowlers, which line to pick? How do you fox a batsman? So a large part of that has to deal with cricketing intelligence. It does come with time. Then when you talk about teams like MI, DC, Rajasthan Royals, and Kings 11, they are doing a good job of nurturing young talent, as they would take over key roles as time goes by, and also provide a feeder service for Team India. So IPL will do that kind of service, and the players that would come up are already battle tested. They are used to the glare of media, of publicity. They are also sharing the dressing room with some overseas players who are really at the top of the game. That benefits them. And the coaching staff is of a very high order. Some greats of the game are there. So when you pick their brains, when they teach you in the nets, and the discussions that happen, it's a wonderful experience. Now, going ahead, CSK would need to scrap its team and build from scratch, and that may be the only way for the team to go in for a resurrection. Now, whether Dhoni plays next year or not remains to be seen, but he might be there, as he himself says. But that's beside the point. The main thing is that the team needs to be reconstituted, and it might that process may take about at least 2 years for a new team to be formed. IPL has also brought into focus the art of big hitting. Now, experts point out that it's not just enough to go there and begin slogging. You assess the pitch, you play good trading shots, and like Brian Lara says, when you are playing fast bowlers, regular batting strokes are required. You don't have to create something new because that is so difficult to do. Unnecessarily, you come under pressure, you might throw your wicket away. So just go in there and play the regular cricketing shots, which are part of your memory bank, and don't try anything funny. And he is so right. Then pace bowlers. When we talk about pace bowlers, it is not enough to bowl yorkers at the death. Very few like Bumrah can do it regularly. And with pinpoint accuracy, rest may take recourse by bowling wideish yorkers, slow bouncers, short of a length. So those variations are required. And that is something that they need to learn and learn very fast. Leg spinners have depended a lot on the googlies and pace variations. Ashwin, as an off spinner, showed there could be 6 different deliveries he can bowl, and that guile, deception, and speed variations are things that young spinners need to master over a period of time and learn from the seniors. There was also a debate between the usefulness of a wrist and finger spinner. Who can be more potent? That debate will continue. And then there are some strange observations, like keep the pitch out of the equation. Can it really be done? Can you really keep the pitch out of the equation? Ask yourself. Any cricket fan or anybody who has played cricket would know that the pitch plays an important role, and reading the pitch is an art form. So if anybody makes these bombastic comments that keep the pitch out of the equation, we have a great team, I don't know whether that's possible or not. Another phrase, play the ball, not the bowler. Easier said than done, and you know why. Watch the hand. Now, there has been a lot of discussion that at the point of the release, in the studio, they show these visual enhancers. It magnifies the hand and it shows how a ball is held at the time of the delivery. And they keep telling you that if it is like this and if it is like that, then how the ball will turn, whether it is a googly, how to read a googly, how to read a slower one, the knuckle ball, and so many variations. But the interesting part is, I was watching this chat, and Dominic Cork basically pointed out one example of a bowler and said that this is the way you can read. But then Lara says that you can't really watch the ball at that last second, because you are watching the bowler and you are watching obviously the hand, but to purely focus on how the ball has been gripped is too much of a tough ask. Coming from Lara, we should take it at face value. He's a legend of the game. And so these were pointers I thought were very, very interesting. As a fan of the game, IPL gave us some tremendous moments, and that's all for now.